Welcome everyone. Today, my name is Jenny Bolton and I'm from Prosper Canada. I also have my colleague here, Sharmeen Beg, who will be providing technical assistance. And of course, we welcome our ASL interpreters, Liz and Carmen. So we begin by acknowledging that we're joining you from Toronto, which is situated upon traditional territories. The territories include the Wendat, Anishinaabeg Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and the Métis Nation. Toronto is in the Dish with One Spoon territory. The Dish with One Spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, the Mississaugas, and the Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent Indigenous nations and peoples, Europeans, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. Today, the meeting place of Toronto is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we're grateful to have the opportunity to work in the community on this territory. Before we get started, let's get to know each other. So if you could please write in the chat just your name and the organization you work for, and if we want to have a little bit of fun, what would you do if you won $1 million? So welcome everyone. So once again, my name is Jenny and I'm going to be your facilitator, and we have Sharmeen and Liz and Carmen today. So what are we going to do? The purpose of today is to learn and practice the skills to support Canadians living on a low income to access benefits. This starts with understanding your role in providing support. It also includes important skills like knowing how to start the conversation about benefits. We're also going to review some tips for using the Benefits Wayfinder and the Disability Benefits Compass. And finally, we will provide you with some additional resources and training available to you. These topics, along with more details on financial literacy, financial conversations, and how to use the Benefits Wayfinder, are available through the Foundations of Access to Benefits online course. If you've not taken this training and are interested, we'll provide you with more details at the end of the workshop. If anyone has any questions, please continue to add them to the chat or raise your hand. So we have 1 hour together today, so let's get started. So let's approach the content in today's workshop, knowing that the experiences, values, and emotions around money differ widely from person to person. Money can be a very sensitive topic. So we will remember this as we work together today, and also when we work with individuals in our community. We're going to start by exploring your role in helping the individuals you work with access the benefits that they're entitled to, but potentially not receiving yet. So how can you, as a frontline staff, support individuals to access benefits? So access to benefits is a vital part of poverty reduction. By integrating access to benefits into existing programs, such as social assistance, employment, housing, healthcare, and settlement, the outcomes of these programs are improved. So as someone working with community members, there are 3 elements to supporting individuals with accessing benefits. The first is to identify an individual's eligibility for benefits. Many people living on a low income are not even aware that there are benefits they could be receiving. Others may know about the benefits, but don't believe they are eligible. To identify eligibility, you can ask if an individual has heard about certain benefits, or using the Benefits Wayfinder to identify potential benefits they are eligible for. The second step to supporting individuals is to guide them through the application process. Although the process must be led by the individual, you can help support their application by making an action plan with them, creating to-do lists for their application, keeping them on track with check-in meetings, or helping with practical needs such as completing applications, navigating online tools, printing, or mailing benefit applications. Lastly, you can support an individual to access benefits by referring them to additional support as required. You are not required to have all the answers. It's totally okay and important to refer individuals to other resources if their needs go beyond your comfort level or knowledge. In these cases, it's important to have a list of trustworthy organizations and resources to refer to. In this webinar, we're going to be focusing on the first element, determining a participant's eligibility and getting them started on their benefits application journey. If there are any questions, please let me know in the chat or raise your hand and we'll address them. So let's start to talk about how we can start the conversation about benefits. First, let's recognize there are many barriers facing the communities we work with. Many people living on a low income have also experienced some form of financial or other trauma, which can lead to additional barriers to accessing benefits, information, and support. A trauma-informed approach recognizes the impact that trauma can have on vulnerable individuals. It aims to empower them by creating conditions of emotional and personal safety. To make a trauma-informed approach, we're going to follow these 5 principles. First, it's important to create a physically and emotionally safe environment. And one way to do this is to hold conversations in a private area. The second principle is to support autonomy and choice. For example, by ensuring the individual knows they're in control of all decisions in the benefits process. The third principle is to create collaborative relationships where the individual has a significant role in how the process unfolds. For example, the individual chooses how and when to search and apply for benefits, while you provide the tools to support action. Next is to establish trust and boundaries. One way you can do this is by reassuring the individual that their information will be kept confidential. Another is reminding them that they can stop the meeting or benefits application process at any time. Finally, it's important to use a strengths and empowerment-focused approach. Acknowledging and validating participants' feelings, experiences, values, and decisions is key. So keeping the trauma-informed approach in mind, let's look at how to start a benefits conversation. The first step is to determine whether a benefits conversation would be useful for a person. There are 3 screening questions that can help. They are: 1, have you filed your taxes for the past 5 years? 2, have you recently experienced or are you coming up to a big life change? This might include having a child, losing a job, or retiring. And 3, do you have enough money to make ends meet? A participant's responses to these screening questions will indicate whether using the Benefits Wayfinder and exploring benefits would be worthwhile. For example, question 1, if they have not filed their taxes, there may be benefits that they are missing out on and might not even know about. Question 2, if they have or are coming up to a big life change, there may be benefits they are eligible for. And finally, question 3, if they do not have enough money to make ends meet, there are benefits they may qualify for. On the other hand, if they have filed their taxes, they aren't experiencing a life change, and they have enough money to make ends meet, it's much less likely that they'll find helpful benefits while using this tool. In this case, you can also always offer a benefits checkup to make sure they're receiving everything they can. So now let's talk about how we can use these screening questions in different conversations. While every situation and every individual is unique, there are 3 common conversation pathways to introduce and discuss access to benefits. The first generally takes place on the job in a public situation when you are having a discussion with a community member who is seeking support because they are in a financially vulnerable situation. For example, you may be working at a food bank, doing screening questions, providing employment and training supports to a newcomer, or in conversation with someone at a drop-in center. The person did not come prepared for a financial conversation. The second takes place during a one-on-one money conversation. So you may be using the Benefits Wayfinder and exploring benefits. So in pathway 2, the second takes place, it's in a private one-on-one scheduled money conversation. And the third takes place in a related field, for example, healthcare or speaking with a person who is incarcerated, providing housing services, etc. It's a one-on-one private meeting, but the person did not come for the purpose of discussing money. So please let me know if there's any questions as we go along. And now let's look at each pathway and how the screening questions would fit in. In pathway 1, you are in a public place, so you need to be sensitive and respect privacy. You're going to want to ask closed questions and leave more detailed discussions to a one-on-one meeting. You may want to open the conversation with, "I'd like to ask a few questions to identify other ways we might be able to help. Would you be willing to answer a few questions?" So if they are, then you can ask them the screening questions. Have you filed your taxes for the past 5 years? Have you recently experienced or are you coming up to a big life change? Or 3, do you have enough money to make ends meet? If appropriate, you can ask if they would be interested in exploring benefits, and if willing, you may want to set up a more private one-on-one meeting. For pathway 2, because you're already talking finances and you're already in a one-on-one private meeting, you can ask the screening questions as part of the broader financial conversation. You can consider asking open-ended questions about improving their financial situation or increasing their income. If the participant identifies a need for increased income, ask if they're interested in checking for benefits. And then you can proceed based on the participant's interest. Finally, for pathway 3, you're working in a related field, so maybe settlement or healthcare, but you're in a one-on-one meeting, so it is private. So you can ask open-ended questions to identify the individual stressors. You can see if there's a need for increased income and share that there may be benefits that can help. If interested, you can ask the screening questions about filing taxes, recently experiencing a life change, or having enough money to make ends meet. If it makes sense to explore further, you can set up a dedicated meeting to do so. So a quick review and some tips for all of the pathways. It's important to set realistic expectations and avoid saying things like, "You will probably be eligible for." You don't want to raise their expectations. To be productive, the process must be led by the individual. You should only start the conversation about access to benefits if the individual indicates that they are interested. And remember, your role is to support the process. You should never directly advise or pressure an individual to consider benefits. So now that we've looked at the different pathways for introducing a benefits conversation, let's look at the next part of the benefits conversation using the Benefits Wayfinder tool. So we're going to take some time now and we're going to demonstrate the Benefits Wayfinder. If you want further detail on using the tool, we do have previously recorded webinars that go into greater detail on our Learning Hub. So just an introduction, the Benefits Wayfinder is a tool that helps individuals identify and apply for the benefits that they are eligible for. It works by providing a list of personalized benefits an individual may be eligible for based on their circumstances. Users can view a particular benefit's eligibility and ID requirements, application process, and more, and organize the recommendations on a dashboard. Those who are most likely to discover new benefits with the Benefits Wayfinder are those living on a new income, newcomers to Canada, those approaching or experiencing a major life event, those who have never filed taxes before, and those who are not receiving common starting benefits. I'm going to provide a walkthrough of how to use some of the features of the Benefits Wayfinder. A video about the Benefits Wayfinder and how to navigate it is available with ASL and will be shared in the resources should you wish to use it as a reference after the workshop or share with others. Again, please ask any questions you have, or we'll have some time at the end for questions as well. Please note, Sharmeen and I, as much as we wish, we are not benefits experts. So I can answer questions about the tool, but we may not have the level of expertise to answer specific questions about benefits. We are also going to switch screens in just a moment as I demonstrate the tool, and we'll also share with you the link to the tool. After I do a demonstration, we will give you the opportunity to try the tool, and we'll do so using a persona. So give me a moment and I will share screen. Can everyone see? So this is the home page of the Benefits Wayfinder. As you can see at the top, there are several ways to access the information. We have starting points, a questionnaire, and browse all benefits. We're going to focus on the questionnaire, and later you'll have a chance to explore it using the persona. So I'm going to begin with the questionnaire that has 13 questions that you can go through with the client or they can do on their own. Before I complete it with you, I want you to know a few important things. The information input is not stored. Often people are not comfortable sharing personal information online. So if that's the case, you can use a different means of exploring, such as starting points, which you can take a look at later. You do not have to answer every question. There is the ability to skip questions, but the more questions they answer, the more specific benefit recommendations they'll receive. As you answer more questions, benefits will not be removed from your dashboard, only added. Also, you can move back and forth. So if you made an error, you can go back and change your answer, and you can also review all of your answers before submitting. If you're completing the questionnaire for a participant who's approaching a life change, be sure to answer the question as if they're already experiencing it. This will give the most accurate suggestions. For example, if an individual is expecting a child, answer the questions as if the child is already born. If someone's approaching retirement, enter the income they will have once in retirement. So let's do the questionnaire together. Here's the questions. Are you up to date on filing your taxes? I have previously added some answers to make it quick. How old are you? So I've chosen 30 to 49. There is a question on your immigration status. There's a question of where the income comes from. How much money does everyone in your household together make in 1 year? How many people live in your home? Do you care for any children under 18 years of age? Are you or is anyone in your household living with a disability? Where do you live? Are you pregnant or expecting a child? The length of stay in Canada since age 18. Are you, your parent, or your spouse a Canadian veteran? Do you have a parent or spouse who had lived in Canada and passed away? Okay, and then it will share the dashboard. So the recommended benefits will show up in a dashboard. Okay, so I'm going to show you some of the features of the dashboard. So the recommended benefits are a good starting point, but you still need to go through them to determine eligibility. There are also sublists on the dashboard where you can view benefits. So you can mark them as seen. You can also prioritize them, low, medium, or high. If it's a benefit they're already receiving, you can click on it so that it doesn't show on the dashboard, or you can remove it altogether. If you make one of these choices, you can undo them as they are all listed here on the side. Okay. You can also do by relevance in terms of sorting, so priority, alphabetical, or whether tax filing is required. So there's just lots of options in how to display the dashboard. Each benefit also indicates whether it's a complex application process, whether tax filing is required, and it will also share all of the identification required. So let's take a look at one of the benefits. By the way, I had already populated this as Ontario, but if they are from a different province, you would click that. You're actually asked that when you first enter the Benefits Wayfinder, but I had already set it up for Ontario. So for example, here is an assistive devices program, and you click on the accordion, you'll learn more about the eligibility, you'll learn more about the identification that is needed, as well as how to apply. Okay, so I'm giving you a very quick overview today, but in a moment, I'm going to give you the opportunity to explore. One other thing to note is that we also provide the link to the actual government benefit website. So if you want to go there and take a look at it, you can as well. At the end of the session, it is important, you can either save your session and you can email that to yourself or to the individual. You can also copy the URL because otherwise things will not be saved. If you're working with multiple clients, it's important to clear the session, and then you will lose all of that information. It will be gone so that you can start fresh. A couple other things just to point out to you. We have a help section, and here we have a list of agencies where you can get support. Plus there's links to the Disability Benefits Compass, which I'll show you in a moment, and other resources that are available. So there's the link to the Disability Benefits Compass and a couple of other resources as well. If you scroll down, it's a list of organizations, and if you think your organization should be added to the list, we would love to do so. Another section I'd like to show you is up at the top. It's called the Agency Portal. And here again, we have some links to other resources that are available. So if you're looking for more training around access to benefits, we link to the training that we provide. We also have another tool called a Bridge to Benefits, which helps organizations and managers who are looking to learn how they can bring access to benefit services into their organization. There's also lots of resources like an action plan that you could use with clients, some worksheets, some of the key benefits, an online tool that we have. So this is a really great course that people can take around managing money, and another great toolkit called Managing in Tough Times. So there's lots of resources that I encourage you to explore. Does anyone have any questions before we move on? I'm definitely going to pause here for a moment and check the chat. And while we're looking in the chat, I'm going to switch screens once again, and I'm going to show you the persona that we're going to have you do. Okay. Were there any questions? Doing okay? All right. So this is an opportunity for you to explore the Benefits Wayfinder and use the questionnaire. You will notice when you click on the link to the Benefits Wayfinder, the questionnaire will look slightly different to you because I showed you an already completed questionnaire. So you'll go through the questions and let's try it. So it's an opportunity just to practice on your own. And let's use Sergio as an example. Feel free to fill in the blanks. If you don't have enough information, just fill in the questions the way that you would like, perhaps similar to maybe the clients or the people that you serve. So we have Sergio, who is 33 years old. He's a newcomer, a temporary resident who has been in Canada for 3 years. He lives in Toronto and he's renting. He's living on ODSP, so approximately $13.68 per month, and he has not filed Canadian taxes before. So I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to use the link provided into the chat, And I'm going to ask you to see what kinds of benefits you might be able to find for Sergio. When we come back to the group, I'll ask you to share those benefits in the chat, and we'll just take a look at what we discovered. So I'll give you 5 minutes, and then when I come back, we can share. So welcome back. I hope you had a good experience with the Benefits Wayfinder. Before I reveal some of the benefits I found, please share 1 or 2 in the chat if you'd like. So let's take a look. You notice that some of the recommended of the 30 may not apply to the individual when you dig a bit deeper, but the tool filters based on how the questionnaire was answered, and we always prefer to have it list more rather than less. So here's some of the things that we found that Sergio would be eligible for. So Assisted Devices Program, the Canada Disability Savings Grant, the Disability Tax Credit, the Registered Disability Savings Plan, Climate Action Initiative, the Ontario Trillium Benefit, the Canadian Dental Care Plan, and the GST sales tax. So these are the types of benefits that will be identified. And if you're working with a client, you can dig a little deeper with them by linking into the benefit description. And as I said, in my demo, you can see the eligibility, you can see the ID required, and all of those kinds of things. So hopefully you can see ways that you could use this with people that you work with. So now I want to switch gears again and tell you about some of the other resources that are available for you. I did highlight some of these briefly in the demo. And by the way, these slides will be shared after the session so you can reference them later. So depending on an individual's needs and situation, sometimes it's in their best interest to refer a client to another organization or service that can provide more specialized support. So these might include tax filing clinics, ID clinics, and other community support or advocacy organizations, example for newcomers. It's a great idea to build a referral network. So you want to create a list of trusted individuals and organizations who can offer specialized support if you can. And on the Benefits Wayfinder, there are 2 great resources to help you find those kinds of referrals. And that was the help and the agency portal that I showed you in the demo earlier. You can also find more information on the tip sheet called Supporting Client Intake, Triage, and Referral in Virtual Financial Help Services. And for future reference and for more detailed information on how to use the Benefits Wayfinder with clients, you can take a look at the support guide. So it covers a lot of what we explored today on starting the benefits conversation. And it can be a really great tool for you to use as you begin to learn how to use the Benefits Wayfinder with clients. Okay. So now I want to take a look at another tool called the Disability Benefits Compass. The Disability Benefits Compass is linked to the Benefits Wayfinder, so you can access it through that, but it's also a standalone tool. Disability benefits are much more complex. So this tool was created in partnership with Plan Institute, Disability Alliance BC, and the SRDC to help improve the navigation of key disability benefits. So essentially, it's a deeper dive into these benefits with more tips and suggestions for how to apply. So it has plain language and was designed by people living with a disability and support staff. And within each step are tips, examples, frequently asked questions, resources, and challenges you may encounter and who to contact for help. You can also find out what to expect after you apply and the next steps to take if your application is approved or denied. The tool has 3 main federal benefits, so the Disability Tax Credit Certificate, the Canada Pension Plan Disability Benefit, and Registered Disability Savings Plan, plus the 1 provincial and territory disability assistance benefit. The Disability Benefits Compass can be used by caregivers, family members, volunteers, and organizations who provide access to benefit support. So now I'll give you a short overview of the Disability Benefits Compass.
And Jenny, just so you know, you have about 15 minutes left.
Thank you. So this is the Disability Benefits Compass. So as you can see, this is the home page, and we have the three. Well, in this case, we have the Ontario one. I've selected Ontario. So this has the relevant disability benefits. All right, and you can refer to them as well, linking them to the Benefits Wayfinder if these are things that they're already receiving. Some of the ways to navigate this, you can view some of the key benefits. You can also click on Help to get started, and this will give you an introductory video that was created by Disability Alliance BC. You can browse some of the key disability benefits as mentioned. So if you click on it, it will give you more information. Okay. And one of the things that I wanted to highlight for you today are some of the resources that you can find here. So we have these little tools here, or totes as they're called, and some of the questions that they help to answer are things like what to do if your application is denied. It'll provide you some of the definitions, how to find a doctor, which can be very challenging, some sample letters that you can provide to your doctor, as well as some questions that you may want to ask if you're opening up an RDSP. So there's lots of great topics here, and we were really fortunate to be able to work with our partners to provide us with some of the best practices and some great information here to help. So let's take a quick look at how type of information you get about each benefit. So for example, if I'm looking here at the disability tax credit, we have an introduction, the eligibility, how to apply, what to do after you apply, frequently asked questions, and resources. So let's briefly explore these together. So we have a little bit of an introduction. We have lots of accordions with more information. So there's lots of detail. And as it takes you through each step, you can move through it. So now we're into eligibility. Again, it will talk about all of those things. It'll talk about the age and financial requirements, assets, the ability to work, all of those kinds of things, with all Q&A throughout as well, and lots of different tips. Okay. It'll then take you through the application process and all the different steps, and it will take you through step by step, in fact, and ask you questions. So yes and no questions, and just will help you navigate all of the ins and outs, as we know these are much more complex. It will also go through what to do after you apply, and it will have things of if it's approved or denied and how to navigate that. Of course, we have some frequently asked questions. Lots of information depending on the disability benefit you're applying for, and then some resources as well if you're needing some additional assistance. Okay. We also, of course, have a help section. So if you're needing help with a particular benefit application, there's some places that you can reach out to for assistance as well. And just, there's just so much information that I obviously can't cover it today, but I encourage you to take a look and of course circle back to us if you have any questions. We're happy to do that, or if you have the need for a more detailed demonstration of the Disability Benefits Compass, we're happy to provide that as well. We have our team who are much more experts than I am on the disability credits. So I'm going to pause for a moment because I want to make sure that we are answering any questions that there are in the chat. So while we check on that, I'm going to go back to our presentation and just share with you a few more resources. I don't think I see any questions. Okay. So for both the Benefits Wayfinder and the Disability Benefits Compass, there are several ways that you can use the tools. Many people use it as a resource themselves to find out more information about specific benefits, or some organizations include it in their onboarding for staff to learn about common benefits. So it's just a great resource if you're wanting to look up information on a particular benefit. It can also be used with community members to explore benefits that might be available to them. So for the Benefits Wayfinder, you can use it as a checkup as well. And for someone with a disability, the Disability Benefits Compass can help them navigate the application process, as we just discovered. Both tools can be a great way to encourage money conversations at a tax clinic or in a follow-up appointment. And it can also be a way to provide tips to people applying for benefits, especially the Disability Benefits Compass, which has more detail on the benefits application process. So we are almost done. But before I begin to wrap up, I want to find out if anybody has any questions about what was shared today. And so this is an opportunity to raise your hand or to add your question to the chat. And we can also put you on camera so you can sign to the interpreter to share your question. And then I also have a couple of additional resources to share with you. Don't hesitate to put it in the chat if you think of a question. In the meantime, I'll just share with you some of the other resources that we have. So we have some new client-facing tools, and one, as I mentioned, is specifically designed for organizations, and that's the Bridge to Benefits tool. So it's for an organization considering offering access to benefit service or expanding what they currently offer, and it shows you some of the steps needed and provides valuable tips and resources for getting started. So the Benefits Wayfinder also has a link to this tool. We also have a webinar recorded on this that you can view from our Learning Hub, or as mentioned, if you'd like a demo on any of these tools a little bit more in depth, you can email me at jbolton@prospercanada.org, and I'll share that in the PowerPoint slide deck that I provide to you. We also have a new Making the Most of Your Money online course and Investing with Interest handbook for consumers that you can find on Trove and Learning Hub. So again, I will provide you with the links to that in the PowerPoint. Okay. And just a few more things to share with you today. So as we wrap up for today, I want to quickly review that as frontline workers, you have a really unique opportunity to support people with access to benefits. So remember to assess the setting that you're in and the individual that you're working with, and consider using one of the conversation pathways to bring up the topic of benefits and look for opportunities to ask those 3 screening questions. And finally, the Benefits Wayfinder and the Disability Benefits Compass can be used in different ways to identify or organize benefits that an individual may be eligible for, depending on what they're most comfortable sharing or using. So I really want to thank you for joining us today. We hope that you enjoyed it. We really would love your feedback. This particular workshop was kind of an amalgamation of 2 of our workshops, one on the Disability Benefits Compass and the Benefits Wayfinder. So it may have been a little bit rushed and not as much detail as if we were doing them separately, but I wanted to certainly provide you with an overview to both of them. So please take a moment. We're going to put in the chat a link to a survey, and we always appreciate your feedback. We're always trying to do better and make sure that we can meet the needs of the organizations that are using these tools. And just letting you know, the Benefits Wayfinder was developed by Prosper Canada, but we had sponsorship from TD Bank Group, and we were supported by Maple Leaf Center for Action on Food Security. So thank you to our ASL interpreters today, to Carmen and to Liz. We really appreciate your time today, and I'm going to open it up to questions now as well.